seconds after Derek told me to hit the record button. So, we're in. And yeah, so this week, music theory hacks. Music theory is an interesting topic to some and a boring one to others. And for most people, there can be at least periods where we don't really know what to do with it. We might be interested in it, but when it comes to actually applying it, we come up short. So we have sometimes what you could refer to as a knowing doing gap. We know what to do, but we don't do it. And we don't want to have, music theory should explain, or does explain, things that work. It doesn't limit you to doing anything particular. Some people also feel that if they learn music theory, then they'll have no soul in their playing. That's quite a popular one. That somehow knowing more stuff will make you play like a robot, or something like this. Which, you only ever hear people saying that who don't know music theory. If you know a bit, you're very thankful. It gives you options. It allows you to communicate more freely with other musicians. It allows you to write your ideas down. It allows you to analyse things that you like in music and categorise them. The list could go on. So, assuming that all you guys already know a bit, which I know you do, I would just like to give you these hacks. Now, what we're about to have a look at, we went through with some of you guys at Fretboard Freedom briefly, and we're going to have a look at some of that material, and as we learn it, we will apply it, and hopefully it will get you guys to feel more like music theory is positive, fun and useful. So can I hear seagulls? I can't even hear the seagulls in here, but I'm assuming that you can. I now live by the sea. So Martin gets this week's Most Sensitive Ears Award. Your prize will be in the post. In fact, I'll send it by boat. So I've, for anyone who's interested, I've just moved to Largs, which is a seaside town in Scotland, and famously Largs was the site of the Battle of Largs, and the Battle of Largs took place, he types furiously into Google, Battle of Largs took place in 1263. So it was a medieval clash between the kingdoms of Scotland and Norway near the town of Largs. So I think it was indecisive, but the story goes that's sort of where Scotland won back the land from the Vikings. And every year they have a Viking festival, which I've moved just in time for, where they burn a longboat and various different things. So if you start seeing me sporting a Viking helmet, and you know that the sea breeze has went to my head. So yes, that was a long answer, Martin, but you probably can hear seagulls. So whiteboard going on. There we go. So the first subject that comes up as a sort of like on the to-do list for most people is, how can I know what chords are in a key? Sometimes that's expressed as, how do I know what chords go together? And so obviously I kind of an obvious use for this straight away is writing songs, because you go, okay, rather than just using trial and error, there are an actual set of chords that go together. Now the chords that go together would constitute what we call a key. Now a key, just to get the definitions out of the way, a key is a family. Can everybody see what I'm typing on the screen? Is it coming up? As a key is a family. What does it constitute? Chords plus scale. That could be scales. and we don't have to play in one key all the time. Or let's just say we don't have to write in one key all the time. It's very common in music to have key changes. Now, depending on the style of music, that can be anywhere from, let's say, the outro to Bon Jovi's Living in a Prayer. You know, the choruses are in E minor / G. I mean, as a point of notice, this is like classic songwriting trick. We have a chord progression. It goes E minor, C, D. Then it goes G, C, D. What we're doing there is we're playing a chord progression in E minor, basically, if you want to take a snapshot of it. And then it becomes G major. Now, collectively, we would probably say that this song is in the key of E minor because it starts on E minor. But again, taking those little snapshots, within a song you can see it being more E minor, more G major. The relatives, which we're going to look at a hack for today. Halfway there. So the chorus. Halfway there. Living on a prayer. So that's the key that the chorus is in. But at the end of the song, we have this little trick where the key changes, which is really high, right? As we go. Yeah, that's it. But he sings it up an octave. So you have this key change at the end of a song. It's like a little lift. Anywhere from that usage of a key change to in a jazz standard, you might find key changes every other bar. So it's very common to hear things that are key change, key change. And also, you don't have to be firmly rooted in a key. This again would be something that would be, frequently used in jazz music or like fusion music, which is like jazz mixed with funk, mixed with whatever else you want to put in the stew. So you have chord progressions that go something like this, like an A minor 7 to C minor. So they don't belong to the same key. And so what that means is that the scale changes when the chord changes. So anyway, I'm just sort of not really getting too deep with that, but just laying it out. Like a key is a family, chords plus scales, but you don't have to stay in one key. But it is very helpful to at least have, learn the rules so you can break them, right? A key is a family, right? Now, within this chords topic, you have what we call primary chords. For 10 points, can anybody in the chat tell me what primary chords are? How we would talk about that. Somebody said the primary chords in the key of, I won't even give you a specific key, is 1, 4 and 5, correct, Derek, right? And they are the major chords that are present in a major key, 1, 4 and 5. But they're also the primary chords that would be present in a minor key, as we'll see today. And there's a little handout for this. I've already posted this handout on Circle during the week. If anybody wants to look that up, it's in Ask Questions. And the topic or the subject, the title of said lesson is coming very shortly into your ears. It is freebie, cheat sheet to memorise keys and relatives. And it doesn't take long. So primary chords, as Derek has correctly suggested, are the 1, 4 and 5 chords. So some people might then ask, well, what does 1, 4, 5 mean? Well, this is what we refer to as the Nashville number system. So it's a way of talking about chord progressions that has many applications. One of them is that you can transpose a song from one key to another. So in the key of C, the first chord is C, the fourth chord is F, and the fifth chord is G. Just to be clear, the first chord is C, the second chord is D minor, the third chord is E minor, fourth chord is F, fifth chord is G, sixth chord is A minor, and the seventh chord is a funky little fella. It goes by the name of B diminished. So, and again, the diminished chord is a chord that often goes unused, and it's probably because it sounds kind of funky, but in the right place, it can be the perfect choice. 1, 4 and 5. Now if I have a song that goes C, and I would like to transpose that into a key, let's say we choose the key of E. Well, the 1, 4 and 5 chords in the key of E are E, A and B. So I could take the same thing and any other key. So having that knowledge quickly is like of fundamental importance, rather than the traditional method, which is to learn all 7 chords and the little pattern and so on. That way is useful, but to me that will become very obvious to you once you've explored what we are doing today. So figuring out the primary chords, the Nashville number system used for communication, for transposing, and you know, I mentioned earlier about analysing music and how music theory can help you to understand what you like. So by analysing a song, you can start to notice things. Like, I'm going to give you a very obvious, this should probably be obvious, this is a topic called substitution. Now, I'm dropping in little things here, phrases, topics, and if any of those spark questions, please let me know, and we can do a lesson on, you know, whatever. It could be like a Q&A situation where we answer a bunch of different things. It can be just a lesson on substitutions, or whatever it is that you guys want. Don't be shy, and I'm sure that, you know, all of your friends on the call each week will enjoy the variety of topics. And if you have something that you're interested in, chances are someone else is too. There are no silly questions, and the fundamentals are fundamental, and so, you know, it can be quite easy to get away from them and into complexification. There's a word, a new word I might add, but that, you know, for me, this basic fundamental stuff this is what I use all the time. Why wouldn't you use the fundamentals? So here's an idea, right? I'm going to write in a chord progression here, right? 1, 4, 4 minor. You think, well, what the hell is that? Well, if the 4 chord is F, then the 4 minor chord is F minor. And this is a common substitution for 1, 4, 5. Again, not a lesson in substitution, but more just so that we can understand the value of the Nashville number system. Now, if I play the first chord progression, right, 1. I seem to have lost my sound here. This is not good. This has happened before. Gremlins in the system. Okay. I'll try and open that again. Yep, so we've lost audio. Can you guys still hear my voice okay? You can. We're back. I don't know what happened, but I tried turning the speakers off and on. Didn't even need to phone up support to be told the obvious thing. So C, F and G. At some point you think, okay, they're primary chords, but we've heard them a lot, like, are there other flavours available? And the answer is yes. Here's this substitution, so we're going to now go C, and then it's a super common little substitution. It also has a certain kind of feeling to it. So you maybe analyse 3 of your favourite songs, and maybe 3 of them have that move in it, and you always enjoy that part of the song and it makes you feel a certain kind of thing. Well, now you know what it is. You know how to create that feeling on demand. And because this information applies across keys, you're not limited to doing it in one key. Because that's a problem that we have on the fretboard, is that we know things, but we only know them in one position, or we do things that we like, but we don't understand them. It could just be a lick in a song, like, why can't you play that all over the neck and in any key? To a variety of different backing tracks, or in your jam session. It doesn't take long, it's just that little intention of, this thing that I like, I'm going to own that. It's not just part of that song, it's like, it's a thing. That would be an example. Again, this common feeling. Even melodically, I'm playing C again. They're just literally the notes of the chord C. F minor. Familiar feeling probably to most. You've heard this kind of thing before. Nashville number system, primary chords 1, 4 and 5. So, having now sold you on the idea of learning these things, let's get to work. But I'm interested, before we actually get to the hack, this is like the big reveal. Oasis use a lot of the 1, 4, 4 minor. You're absolutely right. Half the World Away is a great example. Half the world away, and then you've got the half the world away. Can you hear this? It's like a heartbreaker, right? It's like it really just, you know, even the like half the world away, and then you've got this half the world away. The same lyric suddenly feels different, and the words seem to mean more. And you know, it's, you know, so maybe from that analysis, okay, you've got the chord, right? What else is working there? You're writing a song, okay. Maybe you don't need another line. Maybe you've got a great line. Maybe you need to repeat that line, but try different chords underneath it. Wow, suddenly that phrase feels different, brings more meaning to the music. So, yeah, that's how you make people feel sad. 4 minor. So, what's interesting about that song as well? Half the world away, and then you get the half the world away, half the world away. It's like it now suddenly gets cheery. Same lyric. Starting on a C chord now. So it takes you on a little emotional roller coaster. And it's only using 4 minor, and then it goes back to 1, which is C. So there you go. Thank you, John. If I was to suggest to you guys that there was a method of learning all this stuff, it wouldn't come as any surprise. But before we start utilising the chat, does anybody have an answer or an idea? Like, what do you think the method would involve? Like, how can you once and for all learn all 12 keys and it not take a long time? So if anybody's got any ideas, is there a method or a tool perhaps? It could be a chart, something that maybe you've seen before or heard people talking about that, you know, maybe represents keys and so on, and would therefore be useful. Yep, Derek said it, circle of fifths. So that's the general answer, right? People think, I'm going to learn all the keys, so I need to learn my circle of fifths. Put your hand up if you've learned and memorised the circle of fifths. If you could draw a circle of fifths without reference. I'm scrolling through, I'm awaiting some tumbleweed here, right? Right. Some people are like, maybe a little bit. It's not something that most people have memorised. I will also say this, because I thought that was the method, I memorised it a long time ago, but it didn't help me to be a better player, or actually to understand. I just had it memorised. I could draw you a circle of fifths, I could explain and figure it all out, and I used to write all 12 keys out. So here's how this manifested, right? I would say, I would have a piece of paper, and I'm just going to write on the whiteboard, and I would have A, B minor, C sharp minor, oops, my bad, C sharp minor, D, E, F sharp minor, and what am I doing here? F sharp minor and G sharp diminished. Right, I would write that down on a piece of paper, that and all other 12 keys, and I would just write it out a lot, sitting up the back of my college class when I was supposed to be paying attention, that kind of thing. Or later on, working on building sites, doing it on the back of screw fix boxes, like boxes of nails. I will memorise this stuff, but it's like not very nice on the eyes. Something about sharps that literally are a little bit stabby on the eyes. You look at it and it's like, and I need to remember all of that. So eventually I stumbled upon the method that I'm going to show you guys right now. All I'm asking for you to do is just memorise this sheet. Again, it's already been posted in the circle on Ask Questions. It says freebie, memorising the relatives and keys. So you just write these out, right? So in the key of A, it's A, D and E. They are the primary chords. And you think, well, that's not all of the chords on the key, but with the next part of this lesson, with the relatives part of this, then we're going to figure out a real way to get there quickly, right? So you just write that down, but as if it's a word, the word aid almost, right? Incorrect spelling, but like, don't make it an A, a D and an E, like make that a visualization, like what we call a chord spelling or a scale spelling. Just memorize the spelling of each of these keys. If we pick, and I'm just going to pick natural keys, and I'm going to show you why in just a little minute. You pick the key of B, you have B, E, and you have F sharp. The key of C, well, we did it already, it was C, F, and G. The C, F, G, it's not the big friendly giant, but it's the, I don't know, something friendly giant. But yeah, again, just bring it to life. B, E, F, Bef sharp, Aid, C, F, G, I don't know, right? But it just has to be like a little word that you remember. D, G, A. And that's what I'm using right now. I'm just remembering these little ones. E, A, B. Now the key of A and the key of E are very omnipresent in the world of guitar. They're good guitar keys. F. Well, we've got F, B flat, and C. So the key of B is kind of unique so far because it has a sharp. The key of F is kind of unique so far because it has a flat. Bring it to life. The key of G, G, C, and D. Another very popular guitar. Everybody on this call knows at least one song with G, C, and D in it. Probably more. And that is, or they are, our 7 different spellings. Now you say, well, there's 12 keys. Well, if we want to do the key of A flat, it's A flat, sorry, A flat, D flat, and E flat. It's the same spelling, there's just a little flat on it. If we wanted to do B flat, so you can guess what's coming. It's going to be B flat, E flat, and F. It's the same letters. And so on. If it's a sharp key, like C sharp, well, it's going to be C sharp, F sharp, and G sharp. So this is what you have to memorise. You just memorise that little list as it's written. Now you might want to, you know, check it. Like you might feel like, okay, well I need to know why, and I can relate to that. So you go and you check it, and you'll find out that it's correct. And so once you've found out that this is a valid, correct list, then you just go ahead and write it out 1,000,000 times, and then check yourself during the day. What's the key of C? C, F, G. Some of them you'll remember quickly. A couple of them maybe will take some time. Don't try to memorise the flat key as a separate thing. Just remember, if it's A flat, you go, what's A, D, E, so it's A flat, D flat, and E flat. So that's the first part of the puzzle. Now the second thing that you have to do is you have to memorise the relatives, right? So in the key, or if the chord is C, then I'm great at theory but not so good at getting my caps lock. C and A minor go together, they are relatives. Now in what capacity do they go together? The key of C is relative to the key of A minor. What does that mean? They contain the same chords, they have the same notes. What makes it different? We touched on this earlier on. Basically what one you start on, right? Simple way of looking at it. You want a song in the key of A minor? A minor, F and G. Same chord progression, but instead of A minor, F and G, C. Now the song's in the key of C. Somebody's zoomed me. And again, you can do that. You can do that move. A popular song that does that would be, I mean, there's so many to choose from. Another Oasis song, "Live Forever." you have like one section is G, D, A minor, the other section is E minor, D and A minor, so you're just flipping the to the relative basically. One other little trick actually that again I'll throw out because it might be of interest is, as well as the concept of a relative minor, you also have a concept of a parallel minor. And what the parallel is if I'm in the key of A minor, well, the parallel major, we could say, is A major and vice versa. A song which does this is While My Guitar Gently Weeps, the Beatles. You've got the... sorry. This chorus, back to the verse. Mucked up the end of the verse, but you get the idea. So that's a parallel minor. Parallels and relatives. These are big keys. C goes with A minor. The key of C goes with the key of A minor. The chord C goes with the chord A minor. This anything C related is also related to A minor. They go everywhere together. And also that, you know, they're related in the sense they only have one note of a difference between them. Here's a little example that you could try. Like if you play on the top 3 strings and you play the C chord, we're talking 5, 5, 3. That's a C chord, right? This is the G, the B and the high E string. 5, 5 and 3. And if you change one note and move it up 2 frets, that would be the note on the high E string, 5, 5, 5, A minor. That move would be true of any chord that looks like that. You don't even need to know their names, just go anywhere on the fretboard. They go everywhere together. C and A minor, D and B minor, E and C sharp minor, F and D minor, G and E minor, and C, D, E, F, G, A and F sharp minor, and B goes with G sharp minor, and that's it. I don't know why I started on C. I just put the list alphabetically. And if you want to know the key of A flat, well, the key of A flat is F, or the chord of A flat goes with F minor, I should say. If you wanted C sharp, it's C sharp and A sharp minor. They go everywhere together. So putting these 2 pieces together is very easy now. Oops. If I have A being the key, the chords being A, D and E, well then I can quite quickly ascertain that the minor chords will be F sharp minor, B minor and C sharp minor. Why? Well, if you look at your little list, you'll see that A goes with F sharp minor, D goes with B minor, E goes with C sharp minor. That's 6 out of 7 chords. Now the only other chord that's missing then is the diminished chord. Now the diminished chord is always a semitone below the root. So that would be G sharp diminished. Again, it's not used that often. And it's very easy to remember because, as I say, it's just a semitone down from whatever the root is. But with this, you'll have your primary chords, and with this, each time you think of any chord, you will simultaneously think of its relative. Now you might think, well, that would be great. Well, look, we don't have a lot of information here. We really don't have a lot of information here. If this was any other subject, and somebody said all you have to do is memorise this and this, you'd be off to the races. You'd think that's so easy. It really is easy. I want you to hear that, because it's like, it doesn't need to be hard. When I see an A chord, I know that F sharp minor is its relative. It's 7 pieces of information in each list. Again, the flat thing is something that you get for free. It's just a mental adjustment. 7 pieces of information for primary chords, 7 pieces of information for relatives, and then putting it into practice. And one other application for this is minor keys. So let's see relatives. So if I'm in the key of A minor, the chords are A minor, D minor and E minor. Let's compare. Oops. I'm all over the place today with this stuff. I don't even know how to get back over there. Let me go back. Can't get back. Oh, zoomed in too much. What I was trying to do was be clever. Didn't really work that way. I see A minor, D minor, E minor. So that's true for any of the keys. In the key of G minor, it's G minor, C minor and D minor. Application straight away for that, for the 1, 4, 5, blues. Application for this, minor blues. I'm assuming everybody knows, again all of this is in your handout, you don't have to worry too much about it. 12 bar blues, typical, what we'll call fast change. You go the key of A, fast change to D, A. A slow change you would just have 4 bars of A. Then it's D, D, A, A. And then we have a turnaround. E, the 5 chord, D, the 4 chord, A, the 1 chord. Finish off on the 5 chord. Done. 12 bar minor blues. You just change them all to minor chords. As simple as that. Nothing complex. You just change the quality of each of the chords to make them minor. And hey presto, you now have a minor blues. So it really pays to know this stuff. One last hack that we can use, something we can utilise. Okay, so A we said goes with the F sharp minor. So for any of you guys who are most familiar with the minor pentatonic scale and playing in minor keys, and you're going to play in a song that's in the key of A, and you want to know what scale to play, well you play, or you can think of, what we call this as minorising, you think of the relative minor pentatonic to access what you already know. You think, oh I don't know the A major pentatonic scale. Yeah you do, it's called the F sharp minor pentatonic scale. It's the same notes, but the centre of gravity is different. So on the A chord, everything wants to resolve to A. But in the key of F sharp minor, F sharp is the note. So hopefully you can hear that it's the same notes, but one feels distinctly minor and in A so they're different sounds, hence why they have a different name. Because I think that annoys the logical part of our brains, which is, well, if the same notes constitute A minor and C major, then what's the difference? Well, the answer usually in music is the sound, because it's music, right? It's to do with sound. And the reason for, or let's say the interpretation of major, minor, these are things that are heard and felt. So something that's minor will feel inherently darker, all the way to depressing sadness, and something that's major will feel inherently brighter, all the way up to cheesy, cartoon-esque kind of vibes. So just talking about the notes and writing them down, again, that isn't applying what you're learning. Put your fingers on the guitar, move them around, make a connection, make the information meaningful to you. You now have the tools to learn all of the keys, or the ones that you don't already know. You've got a nice easy way to chunk it. Nobody wants to think of 7 chords every time they think of a particular key. You want to think of the primary ones and their relatives. That's 6 out of 7. And this method allows you to do that very quickly, and the more you work it, the more useful it becomes to you. And we also spoke about little songwriting usage, where, okay, let's maybe have the verse be minor. So if it's in the key of E minor, it's going to be E minor maybe. Don't know what that was, but we'll pretend that I meant it. Chorus comes, flip, G. So my chorus is distinctly major, and then the verse So, hope you guys learned something useful today. I'm keen to hear any feedback, and if you have ideas for subsequent lessons, pop them in the chat or the circle. And until next week, guys, have fun. Thanks for tuning in.